Hello, my dear church boys, and welcome to another episode of Saint Robert's Daygame Pickup Podcast, which we are recording with Mr. T, a
Hola.
hidden mask.
Really? I'm just protecting my eyes and my
Oh, this is
face.
for COVID, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're recording this from Playa del Carmen in Mexico, where we've been for 1.5 weeks after spending a week in Tulum. It's been a blast. It's been pretty amazing. And in this podcast episode, we will talk about how to go from sleeping with a girl for the first time to having that girl as a regular, as someone you see on a regular basis, maybe weekly, maybe more, maybe less, it doesn't really matter. But we'll talk about that process and my and Mr. T's experience in doing that. Hello, Mr. T.
Hello.
How have you been doing in this lovely city of Playa del Carmen?
As you can see, I have my lovely tan going. You gotta replenish this. Otherwise, you become like Michael Jackson.
How has Daygame been?
Oh, Daygame, it's been up and down a little bit. Between Playa and Tulum, I think I exhausted myself in Tulum. And I think you remember the first three or 4 days, I didn't want to like approach any set. So
Here?
In the first week, I only did 4 sets. Because I was just too tired from all the walking. It's gotta, you know how it is. Takes its
I
toll.
do know how it is, yeah. We were just talking the other day about how we got the new guys here who arrived recently, and they're like energetic and then you said that how you see them now, and you understand how a year back when you went to Serbia, when we were there with a lot of guys, and you arrived and you looked at us and we were all tired and exhausted from day game and fuck this, I'm not day gaming in this city, fuck this city, and you were just like, what the fuck, guys?
I was like, guys, come on, I'm here. Like, what are you doing? Let's game. And eventually realized how you can be really tired and like just do not want to approach anybody. You're just like, screw this. I want to stay on my bed and just rest my legs. So,
exactly. So it's been a blast. I think this city is pretty cool for day game. 50% of girls do not speak English.
Learn Spanish.
Yeah,
People
do learn
learn.
Spanish, at least some like basic stuff. Because if you go to a venue, sometimes you'll have to order beer in Spanish or tacos. It's not complicated. It's like basic stuff, and you can learn it pretty fast and pretty easy.
Dos pollos, por favor.
Dos pollos, por favor. Dos cervezas, por favor. La cuenta, por favor.
¿Cuánto cuesta?
¿Cuánto cuesta? And then you have to understand the numbers, but we use calculator app for that. Game-wise, we have been doing beach game in Tulum. Then we came here. We did more of streets on the 5th Avenue, 10th Avenue, like the main day game streets here. As I said, half of the girls don't really speak English, so you have to take that into consideration. How have you been doing with the girls that do speak English?
The girls that do speak English been mostly good for me. I think the receptivity has been great. I've definitely for the few sets that I did where the girls spoke English, I had way better traction. I think I ran after 2 girls before who were on a bicycle. I ran after a girl twice on a bicycle. The one I stopped, I got a number, and then I just couldn't be arsed to message her. But then another one had a boyfriend, and like I let her be. But it's as long as they speak English, I'm good.
The only thing that hasn't happened here yet, that I hope you're about to change really, really soon, is
Yeah, we're all in the running, right?
we haven't gotten laid yet, so apparently our day game skills are really shitty. I mean, I've had...
You had many near misses, though.
I had 3 day game dates. First of them was in Tulum. We went to my place, made out, hands on a dick, everything, but no lay, that didn't happen. I had some other dates here. I've been on 3 day game dates, 4 dates total, because we've
Yours are the eye dates.
We've been no, that doesn't include
They
eye
don't
dates.
count?
No,
Okay.
no,
Eye dates.
that's not including eye dates. We've been so when we came here, we did in Playa del Carmen. We explored online a little bit, which I think is fine as long as you're doing 25 sets a week at least as a minimum. So like, we just wanted to see what effect being a gringo, a white gringo or a black gringo in Mexico has on online. I did have one date there. You had your date there. You got laid there, but that doesn't count. It's online. It's for lols. It's for just for cheap thrills. It doesn't really count as. I don't consider it like game or we just did it for fun while we're not getting
zero
laid.
game involved.
Exactly. No, there's game involved, but that's not
For mine.
That's
I'm
not
just
what we're here
That's what
for,
we're here for.
and that's just for kind of lols. I did have 4 dates total, three of them from Daygame. All but one ended with some making out, some kissing. So it's been amazing. It's going fast. We just haven't. It's going good. It's going
Yeah.
well. But we just haven't dipped our magic wands into any day game. Well, I don't know
Right.
what's the
I don't
term.
know.
Whatever.
They get it.
They get it.
Speaking of dates, like I had in Tulum, I did have this like crazy date where this girl just kept on buying me food and drinks. She pretty much paid for, I think, 70% of the date, and she didn't let me bounce her. And at some point, we go get tacos. We sit down, and after the tacos, she's like, "All right, I'm gonna go home." And she just gets a taxi and leaves me out there on the street. I'm like, "What the fuck just happened?" I'm like, "What the fuck? You spend all this money on me just to leave me here?"
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing ever.
I had a date with an American girl who started escalating physically on me 15 minutes in, but didn't go for the full afterwards. So that was a
Crazy
bit weird.
shit.
Yeah. So guys, this place has been amazing. It is really cool to hang out. It's good for game. It's good for learning game. I've been coaching David here, and we were shooting some footage of me coaching David. David's the one who pressed record on this camera. We're working with him on shooting some YouTube videos for my YouTube channel. David did pretty well. He went on a date with a chick here that speaks almost zero English, so it's a Google Translate date. That didn't go too far, but from the 2 days that I coached him, both days ended with eye dates. So that's been pretty amazing. Oh yeah, by the way, here eye dates are a thing. Like we get eye dates pretty much every day you go out, like, or every other session you go out, you get an eye date.
But yeah, and a funny thing about one of David's eye dates is the girl actually walked all the way into her place with David only to come out.
5 minutes, yeah,
I
like
don't know what's going on
5
there.
minutes in the eye date, me and Mr. T, because I'm coaching him and listening to the conversation, and I see like 5 minutes into the eye date, David
Hotel.
walks into a hotel room with a chick, like, and you're looking at
And I'm
me
like, wait, what just happened? I'm like,
And
what?
you're literally asking, what just happened? What the fuck?
Like, what happened?
the fuck?
Like, what? Is this happening?
And that was unbelievable. But they came out. They went to a venue that ended actually with a nice makeout in a beach bar on the beach or something like that. Hey David, want to say hi to guys? Just wave in front of camera so they see who we're talking about.
Put an Asian.
You
hand
are the guy that has his face out. So.
Hey guys, it's David over here.
So okay, let's slowly start talking about what we will be talking today. So
Wait. Lots of beautiful men here, so be careful.
be really careful. Yeah, I mean, I opened a really like incredibly hot chick yesterday. Like, damn, like I would say like a 9.
Yeah, no, I saw her. Because that's the same one? Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw her. She was covered in the face mask. And the reason I say this is because a previous day I stopped someone with like the biggest boobs, biggest bat. Definitely was not a girl.
I
But-
mean, if that chick is no more than 24, and those who have been listening to me for a while, you know that I don't use numbers to describe chicks that much, and you probably have not me ever call anyone a 9. And she was incredibly hot, but I'm still not sure.
Skeptical.
After exploring, like digging through like 100 Instagram photos, I'm still not sure it's a chick. I mean, you looked at the
Well,
photos.
I have PTSD from one of my approaches. So the moment I saw her, I was like, I'm not doing this because the last time I saw someone like that, it happened to be a guy.
I sent
So-
those pictures to a girl that I'm seeing in Riga, and she also said, no, like, that's a girl, come on. Like, she showed it to her girlfriend, and they both were like, no, that's a girl, come on, that's a really hot girl. So, I don't know if she keeps texting, and before going out, I will kind of say, hey, sorry, like, I just have to ask this. I've had some bad experiences with very beautiful girls here that turned out to be trans. Are you trans or not? Just so that we're clear. So I will ask that question. When we were doing the Tinder experiments here, I did the same. I noticed that like a really hot chick that I'm chatting to, and at one point it just clicked that that's a
Oh,
dude.
yeah. I fell into that too.
I just gave a compliment saying that, oh, damn, you're doing a really good job because I didn't really notice, which is, yeah, that's a weird thing. So anyways, today in this podcast, we will cover I think everything you need to know to go from sleeping with the girl for the first time to having the girl as a regular. We will talk about like some standard rules that you have to follow. We talk about what to do from the first to the second date. So when should you text the girl after the first date? What are some ways to set up the second date so that girl wouldn't feel slutty and she would actually come out? How do you make a girl a regular? How do you like some typical, just this is simple things that you should know, and it's my experience, it's Mr. T's experience, and we're just gonna have a chat about a lot of it. I know that there are things that I have more to say about than Mr. T has, and there are some things that he has a lot to say, and maybe I don't have a lot to say. So, and I will give you the talk. It's the popular PUA talk, where you kind of explain the girl what's going on to make sure she understands you are not looking for a relationship. This isn't going to be monogamous, so that she's clear on the terms. And in the end, we will go over some Q&A, some questions that guys in the group chat sent us, because I posted like an hour or two ago. I posted in group chat, hey, in an hour we're recording this podcast. Send me any questions you have. And a very interesting podcast we will be discussing. Question we'll be discussing at the end is a guy asked, what's your experience on retaining girls after same-day lays and fast escalation first-date lays? I have concluded that if I want to see the girl again, I have to deliberately take it slower than I would like to. And I created a table with all my regulars and writing down the number of dates I slept with on. And we spoke about this with Mr. T, so we will talk about our experience on converting a girl from the first lay, taking a girl... helping a girl to become, how do we explain this? What's that?
What bit? From what?
Like, what effect the fastness, the speed of the lay, or how fast you go to lay, how that affects the chance of her becoming a regular. So, but
Okay.
that's just the last topic at the end of this podcast. A few housekeeping items. Number one, guys, you know that I record this podcast once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, because... and not everything makes it to the podcast. So there are some things, some ideas, some stories that just I don't have enough. There isn't enough time on the podcast to talk about all of it. So, and also it's not interesting for everyone. Those stories, maybe layer reports, maybe something like that. It's not interesting for everyone. So I don't want to talk about that on the podcast. But if you are interested in more of a behind the scenes stuff and stories that we have from the trips and some layer reports, I've been meaning to send out the crazy layer report that David wrote. I still haven't done it, but that's going to go out to the mailing list pretty soon. If you are interested in more stuff than is on the podcast, if you want to know what's actually going on and like the smaller details, then there are two ways you can do that. One is I send some stuff out to my mailing list, and the other is I post about a lot of that stuff on our Telegram Daygame Church group chat. So if you want to be on both of those things, just go to my website, strobert.blog, that is strobert.blog, and subscribe to the mailing list, and in the welcome email you will get an invite link to join our group chat. So that's one thing. The second thing, I will be starting more on YouTube videos, and I will be devoting more time on my YouTube videos. So I'm not saying I will, but I might record less podcasts for a while, but I will see, or I will maybe do shorter podcasts, or some stuff might change about the podcast while I'm devoting more time on developing my YouTube channel. What else? And obviously, guys, like, we're in this beautiful place, we're in Mexico, so you have to join us if you want to get some daygame coaching and daygame beautiful trannies and have that experience where you slide your hand down girls' panties and there is a dick that's bigger than yours. Haven't happened. But yeah, if you want to come over for some coaching, then come over, especially after New Year's. I'll be pretty busy probably until the New Year's, but after New Year's, I will have some spots available. And depending on what happens in the USA, I might go to USA. I am thinking about going to Miami. I will send out more information on to my mailing list. But if you want to go and get some coaching in Miami, then send me an email and I will send you more details. I might go to New York, but it really depends. If I have enough clients in Miami, I might spend a few weeks in Miami. and then go to New York, because as of today I cannot go from Mexico to New York City anymore. They introduced some stricter restrictions for international travel. So all that, just send me an email to robert@strobert.blog and we'll talk more. Okay, let's start talking about this topic. So where shall we start? Let's start with a mistake that I've made many times before with the girls that I dated more than once. Especially when I was in a relationships, when I told about that, Mr. T was immediately, "Oh my God, yes, never do that. That's so stupid." Well, you have hobbies, you have work, you have different interests. You want to talk about business, you want to talk about politics, you want to talk about COVID, and all of that other stuff. You don't necessarily have to do all of that with your girls. This is just a little warning that if you want to talk about politics, maybe do it with your male friends. If you want to discuss, I don't know, COVID and the latest development of vaccines, maybe talk to that with your friends. If you want to go out for beers with your friends, you don't necessarily have to take your girl with you. What a lot of guys do is they make the girl that they're seeing regularly this big thing that they want to include everywhere, and maybe it's a way to use the girl to fulfill very different needs in your life, not just male-female polarity needs, but also having someone next to you, having some friends, having someone to do your hobbies with. Separate those things. Do hobbies with your hobby friends. Don't, if you do, I don't know, boxing or whatever, and however much you like boxing, you don't have to talk about that with your girl, and you don't have to talk her into trying boxing. It's just stupid, it's needy, it's very chody, and it's very likely to negatively affect your relationships with the girl. I think a great read on this topic is They Will Date Us, Way of the Superior Man, how men are, women are so different. And if you sometimes want to sit down and have a logical conversation with your girl about your relationship, you have to think twice whether you actually want a girl that is very logical and with you, not in the, because she can be very logical in other parts of life, but are you sure you want a girl that's just as logical as you are when it comes to male-female relationships? So just a tiny warning: don't use girls to fulfill or all your social needs and have a life.
I was gonna say, don't use girls to fill a hole in your life.
Yeah, use girls to fill girls' holes. There's a lot of holes you can fill. And was how we spoke with Mario yesterday about this Italian game. Do you remember?
Oh, right. Yeah, the Italian way of doing things.
What was it? It was like a month or something.
I think it was the whole thing of figure out how to. I don't know. I don't remember.
It was like a game where for a month all the guys on one island competed who would sleep with more girls. Yeah, they were like a group of friends. And you could get like +1 for every girl you sleep with, but you can also get +3, so you get +1 for each hole. So they would always try to go for
all the holes,
just regular sex, oral and anal, all on the first time they sleep with a girl, just to get more points.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because the whole idea was that everyone in the end would chip in like $10, and it was a lot of guys. From what I understand, it was like all the guys on that island, and winner takes it all, and the loser was being ridiculed for the rest of the year until the next competition. I think that's hilarious. I wouldn't participate in it, and obviously it's not a nice thing to do. But I believe there are girls who.
It depends on the girl and what she's into.
Right? No. I mean, I believe there are girls who compete with their girls in like how many guys
definitely
they can fuck in a year.
Definitely.
Maybe they compete in who can get the best gift out of a guy or whatever.
All kinds of things.
All kinds of things. I don't say that you should do it, and I wouldn't participate in it because, well, Another thing that I think you have a lot to say is going from 4 regulars to 0 really
haha.
fast, and maybe you can shine some light on the importance of always going out and
Yeah, I mean, I guess this comes from our last podcast that we had where I mentioned this.
yeah, we spoke
That
a bit about that.
when you start, you can have a sudden string of successes, or you get to have many dates, and all of a sudden you have girls you're seeing regularly. But then, what other people do is once they have that situation where they have maybe 1 or 2 girls that they're seeing, they kind of relax and they become a bit complacent, and then all of a sudden they'll find themselves without anyone, and they have to go back and day game, but not from a position of strength, from a position of weakness and desperation.
Yeah.
I learned a long time ago that just as like in day game, there's a point where you have a lull, so like can have 2 months, and I guess this would almost count for us, where it's like a month.
I'm on a low
traveling.
right now.
I
I'm
don't
on a
know.
low right now.
But you travel for quite a bit, or whatever, COVID happens, and for a little stretch, you're just like, what the fuck? I thought I knew day game. I thought I knew how to do this. And you look back and you're like, I remember the time when I was seeing 5 people, right? And the matter of the fact is that you will always have plateaus at some point, and then at some point you'll have a deluge. In fact, you'll be like, damn, now I need to go on like 6 dates this week, and you kind of be pissed and overwhelmed because you just have so many dates to go on, or you're seeing so many people, and now you need to balance it out.
What? That's a good problem to have.
It is, but it's also stressful. I know it's a weird thing to tell people who are not seeing
I've
anyone.
never had that problem where I felt stressful because I have too many dates.
Well, I have.
Maybe
I've
not
been. Right? I
stressful,
didn't
but-
have time because I wanted to do other things, right? Unless you make the girls the only thing that's important. If you want to go to the gym, if you want to do other things, meet other friends, go traveling, like that affects that whole scheduling thing is a problem. It's a good problem to have though, because you don't want to be desperate, anyways. But it will happen. You will have times where you're doing really well and shit all of a sudden will go south. Maybe not your fault. Conditions change. People go home. People get married. Stuff changes. And so it's always important that even when you're seeing someone, at least go and make sure you are still practicing some of the things you need to for day game, right? There's so many things with tonality, meditation to make sure you're always calm, trying to maintain your frame, because eventually, even if you're seeing someone, that frame is going to be tested eventually. So yeah, it's important not to become complacent, and also not to feel too sad if things are not going well.
Because it's a good obviously most of the listeners were kind of like, what the fuck are those 2 guys talking about? It's like those are like some next level problems, but I think it is important to mention that it's important to keep going out. And the way I look at it, of course, when you get regulars at one point, and you want to get those regulars, but when you get good at getting regulars, you're like, I don't want to see them again. I want to see, like, maybe you sleep with a chick and you're like, I want to see her once, I don't want to see her again.
Sure.
And you have this problem of having too many regulars, and then how to get rid of them. And we've spoken that on the Harem game podcast. We spoke about that there. So
the good times.
those were that was Serbia, Belgrade, I think.
That was great, but then I was also at the peak of all my regulars. I got like 4 or 5 regulars in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. So there is the time when you just have so many regulars, you don't know what to do, and then you have new lays, and you have to politely tell them that you don't want to see them again, and even if they want to see you again. And what I started doing is I still kept seeing girls. If I had that many regulars, I went for hotter girls. I would only go out with maybe hotter girls, and I would look for girls that would make great regulars if I chose to have regulars, and I would try to upgrade my circle of regulars. But I guess the takeaway is keep going out, keep doing your sets, keep doing the work, and don't expect the fact that you have regulars to it doesn't mean you don't have to go out, and you can go from 4 regulars to 0, because if you're not looking for a relationship and that's what you're doing with those regulars, and they might end up having a boyfriend, they might want something more from you, something might happen, they might move away, they might find someone who sees them exclusively and not see you anymore, and many different things like that. So you have to think about that. So a few more things before we get down to the technical part of how to go from the first lay to having a regular. Don't become a chody needy fuck. Like don't become needy. Yeah. Don't start texting her all the time and wanting to see her 3 times a week, and don't do that. Keep going out, keep having abundance, and if you're looking for some casual fun, if you're not looking for a relationship, it would be different. It might be different if we were talking about relationships, but we are not. In this podcast, we're talking about non-monogamy, having several chicks that you're seeing, and something that is just casual. You know, you're not gonna marry the chick, most likely. Like things happen. Let's not call it shit happens, but things happen. So don't become chody. Another thing is remember that girls are very different. Don't have just one type of regular. I mean, we spoke to that before, and I told you that it's pretty stupid to try to throat fuck a girl that's like super innocent and is into very different type of sex, and then you're trying to go all BDSM hardcore throat fucking on her, and yeah, that's just weird.
No calibration.
It's no calibration, and I have regulars that are good for BDSM. I have regulars that are good for going out and chilling out, maybe like going for some drinks, going to improv theater, or introducing to my friends that my friends know, and that there are chicks that I take with me on like New Year's or different celebrations that I do with friends. I have regulars that I take there, and others that I don't, and they wouldn't want to come there. And also the risk of trying to introduce a girl that's totally not into that to BDSM or like brutal deep throat or whatever. I had this very amazing dancer girl that I was seeing for maybe 2 years, maybe a bit less. She was amazing. She gave the best blowjobs I had. It was just unbelievable. And but she knew that I like all of that stuff, and she wanted to please me. She wanted to learn those things just because she knew that I like them, and she felt bad for not being able to come, and then she was able to come with me, and she would feel bad for not being able to come multiple times because she knows that other chicks can come multiple times. She learned that, and she was not happy because she knew she couldn't deep throat, and she tried to learn that, which ended with her puking on me, which she felt bad for. I said, as long as you're fine, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. Shit happens. And so don't try to introduce girls to things they totally don't like and will not like. I mean, there are girls who are good for that, and there are girls who don't. I don't know. Don't really.
It's not their thing.
It's not their thing. Do you have anything to add on mixing different types of regulars and?
Well, I haven't had the problem of trying to force people to join me on things. I usually try to gauge someone's based on how the date goes and the topics that I bring up. I try my best to gauge where they stand, and then also again, if you're having sex, I kind of see how their movements are. Like there's a lot of evaluation I'm doing on the fly that I generally will have an idea of where I could take things. Though I always want to find ways to like ping to figure out if a certain activity is something they would be into. But yeah, that's kind of me. Very different perspective.
Yeah, I just think I've been a dick at some points in my dating past, and have maybe been a dick to girls that didn't need all of the shit, and try to do shit with them that they weren't necessarily into, but I wanted to do it with them. So it's something I don't do anymore.
One thing I do though is try to start from sexual extremes, whichever ones I can find, because this may not be true, it might be a limiting belief, but I believe it's easier to go from extreme to vanilla than to be vanilla for a long time and then all of a sudden want to like switch things up, and for me it just seems very jerky. So if I start from an extreme and I walk backwards, I can be like, oh, we've already done this before, so I can just go back to doing it.
Okay.
Right? It seems like there's more fluidity if I have started from an extreme down to less than if I try to go the other way.
Yeah. Once Andrea does enough day game, gets laid enough from day game, he's really good at discussing day game, but he has to take more action. Once he does that, we'll have him more again on the podcast, and we will ask him how to do anal on the first date. Which he is, as Italian,
It's
is
achieved.
known to do, and I know he has tried that, and I think even did it when we were together in Budapest. Yeah, he was just going crazy there. Even this crazy Serbian chick. Yeah, they were wild behind my wall in the other room. So the other thing of having many regulars, the other beauty of having many regulars, maybe different regulars, is if you have several regulars that you have a feeling would really click with each other, you can try to bring them together for threesomes, which is again something I think we discussed a little bit on a harem podcast, tiny bit.
Yeah, haven't achieved that yet.
But I will one day record a podcast and make a YouTube series on how to set up threesomes with your Daygame regulars, which is what I did when I was spending more time in Riga. But that's for another topic. But that's just another plus of having regulars. And let's get to more technical stuff. And let's first talk about the standard rules of daygame and dating. That I think it's important just to mention that they still apply when you are hanging out with a regular. It doesn't, after seeing the fact that you slept with the girl doesn't mean that all of a sudden all the rules of or like the logic of texting and all of that, they go out the window and that's it. They still apply, I think the first thing is don't text straight after the first lay. That's one of the questions that someone asked in the chat. How soon should you text a girl after the lay? What do you do? What do you do this with what do you do with this?
Well, the many few times this has happened, they always are like, "Hey, thanks for a great night." Makes it easier for me because then all I'm doing is responding to them. So they'll send that either, I think, that night when they're leaving in the car or the next day, and I'll just respond later. Something simple later that day, and then I probably won't message till 48 hours later or something. There's no actual, it depends on the girl, but most of the time I'm not like trying to be too keen to message anybody. Like there's nothing to do anyway. Like why would I text them?
Yeah.
Why do you text them when there's something I'm gonna actually worthwhile at that point?
Yeah, I think there are two extremes. You shouldn't text a girl straight after it or like the next day. You should still give it 48 hours. I mean, everyone knows that rules. Girls even know that rule in texting. And I've seen girls that 100% know that you should text slower than a guy. She's just so consistent with taking a bit more time than I take, and I take a bit more time than she does. And usually, if they do that, I just get pissed and I stop responding altogether. And it's just like, oh fuck this, I'm not seeing her again.
Wait, that you've already seen?
Yeah.
That's very different.
Before delay.
Oh,
Like,
before delay?
They don't
okay,
do it after
No,
delay.
in that case, I would be like, fuck it.
Yeah, I don't.
Though,
like, if you have such a strong logic, if you use such strong logic as a girl, I prefer. It's nothing bad for a girl to be logical, but I prefer the male-female polarity to be there. I prefer for the girl to be feminine and emotional, and for me to be the logical one. It's just what I like. It's what I do. If anyone else thinks differently, or if you're from LA and you're all like all inclusive, then well, like I don't know, go watch something else. Don't watch this. Yeah, okay. So there are two extremes. One is don't text straight after the lay or next day. Take the 48 hours. And also, because the question in the chat was, so when do you text? Like next day or after a week? I think week is really, really bad.
Yeah, I would say that is. Like, what the fuck are you doing
Week is
waiting?
worse than 5 minutes after she leaves, I would say.
I would, because by that time, I think, you know, your mind will always go somewhere, and she may eventually convince herself it was just a one night stand, and
Yeah, he
by
doesn't
the time
give a fuck.
by the time you message back, she's already made her and once a girl has made her decision, that's it.
And if you do
fuck.
message her in a week, what does it look like?
What do you call?
Yeah,
Depends.
like you're fucking horny again after a week and you don't have anyone else to fuck, and all of a sudden you text her.
Possibly, yeah.
And you text for a day and then you invite her out straight over to your place, and well, it's just too transparent, so definitely don't do that. It's not good game. Text her 48 hours after delay, something like that. Like 2 days later. I don't even follow the 48. I text 2 nights later, so it's usually like 36, maybe 40 hours. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to do the exact math and like
Yeah.
48, have to set a timer, have to set a reminder.
There's just a thing, and this comes from. I guess I want to preface this a little bit. We always say that texting will usually be easier if you run the set well, right? Like
Yeah.
when we're doing the approach, like you have an easier way of getting the girl out if you actually did a strong set. Texting will also be easier if the time before the girl leaves, assuming you've had the lay, you also did some little work prior, and we're going to talk about this.
We will,
But
yeah.
there's stuff that you can do prior to make that less of an issue, to make it smoother transition.
Definitely. And in general, the same texting rules apply. Don't, if she takes 4 hours to respond, don't take 5 minutes. Yeah, like it's the same rules. Look at what's happening, and don't text too much. Actually, maybe a good topic to talk about is how often do you text with your regulars?
I'm
Or,
terrible.
Like you don't have to ping every day. You just
No.
can ping once a few days, chat a bit about something, then nothing, then chat a bit again. Or with others, I will not text them for days. Then I would ping back and forth like few messages, just chat with them, and then like invite them to meet. But yeah, if they're responding slow, then go slower. Basically, read the room. If she's not that responsive, then give her some room. Let her. You aren't in a relationship, and even if you were, yeah, read the room, understand what's going on. If she doesn't want to chat, then give her a few days. Like text her in a few days. Like don't become this needy chump that I need her. And it's really hard. I know it's actually really hard to do that because when you haven't had that much success in daygame and dating, and all of a sudden you have this girl who is compared to whatever you were dating from your online endeavors, it's probably next level, way better. And as soon as you have that, guys get needy, and they get like all the chemicals are released in the body, and they get so clingy. And oh my God, she's amazing. I don't even want to go out. I'm too lazy. I can't force myself to go out because like no one's so hot, and I have her. Oh my God, we hear this in the group chat so often. It's just sometimes it's funny. It's like just shut the fuck up, go out. Like don't be like a. Don't. We've all been through this, and you just have to keep going out. That's it. You're becoming needy. You're becoming a chump, and don't make that mistake.
I think eventually, once the girl leaves, they realize that they needed to stay on top of it. This is how the hard way to learn is.
Yes.
Your girl's gonna go away, and then you're gonna be like, oh fuck, all right, I need to do this again,
And not be needy.
and maybe to happen 2 times or 3 times where you lose the girl, and you realize for sure that you can't let your guard down. You need to like,
Unfortunately.
you need to keep it up somehow. To some degree, you need to keep it up.
Ooh,
Someone wants to get you.
it's a video call from my drug girl. I'll chat with her a bit later. So, which leads us to don't text them out of the blue Friday at 9 p.m. With a booty call. You should still have a life. And if you are free on Friday at 9 p.m., and you would like not to be free, I mean, it's fine to be free on Friday 9 p.m. once you have abundance and once you have done all of the day game and all of the lays, and you just prefer to have a chill Friday night, that's fine. Nothing's wrong with that. But if you all of a sudden decide that, it's Friday night, I want to get laid, then, and if you're fucking horny and haven't gotten laid and it's Friday night, then don't text those girls. Like, chill out, text them the next day, set up the date for another date. If you are horny on a Friday night 9 p.m., then you should go out and get some more leads, or maybe spend some more time with your friends. The same. It's about the basic day game rules. You don't text your leads that you haven't slept with after 7 p.m. Just as you probably learned on the texting guides on daygamecourses.com. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Yeah, it's. I think we've covered all the texting and don't be a fucking chode rules, and let's talk about the magical moment. How do you get to the second lay? I mean, you did have the first lay. You slept with this beautiful girl. It's all a magic how that happens. I know that a lot of guys listening are struggling with that part, but it's important to know that. But it's important also to know what to do once you've slept with her for the first time. Because it's so hard to get that first lay when you're learning. it's important to know what to do afterwards so that all that work to get that one lay wouldn't be wasted, and you could actually keep seeing that girl. This is why we are talking about this stuff. So we spoke about don't text her too fast after the first lay. Don't text her a week later, because that just seems like you're just horny and want to fuck her again, but they don't care about her as a person actually. Mister, you had good opinions about this. So what do you do to
Get to see the girls again?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I learned this the hard way, which was how I learned this the hard way was, let's say I had my first, well, yeah, we do the date, go back to my place, fun times, and the girl then leaves. You found myself, when I did want to get her to come back or to go on another date, I didn't have any ideas for what to suggest. And I was always terrible at texting up until, I'm still terrible, but not as bad as I used to be then. I was like, oh, well, what can I invite her for? And after a while, I realized, yo, I need to like deal with this before. I need to set it up before, because you don't want to try to text and figure out what things you're going to do over text. It's very tough, it's very hard, and it's just not the ideal thing to do. And of course, like, the energies can go, and if you know sales, you can get people to pre-commit to something, and later on they're more likely to actually do it. So what I ended up doing was a thing called future projection, or you could say seeding, where it's like I try as much as possible to figure out all the things the girl likes to do. If it's wine tasting, if it's what else? Well, usually it has something to do with food or drinks. It's food or drinks for me now. But and just other interests. And then based off of that, in my head, depending on the city that I'm in, if I already know a lot of things about that city, which I try to do, like I try to find all kinds of nice venues, because I need to know date spots anyways for first dates. But based on those conversations, I will be like, oh, I know this place. Like, have you been here? We should actually totally check it out. Like, one time, maybe I'll take you to this place and we'll do this thing. And I just keep on seeding a bunch of things randomly at different times in the date, so that even if they leave, I'll be like, hey, you want to go do that thing? And now it's just a continuation of something that was started before. And if she already kind of committed or shown excitement about something, I'm not struggling trying to convince her to show up.
Yeah, I'm doing a similar thing, but I might see like one or two things max, just so that I'm not future projecting too much, and she doesn't expect us to get married after the delay, because maybe I sleep with her once and realize we didn't have the chemistry, and I don't want to see her again. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of careful about that, not to
Overdo it.
and then she expects more, or she thinks she can put you in a boyfriend box. But yeah, I'll do the same. I'll maybe talk about improv theater, which I like watching. So a lot of the girls, I just take them for improv theater after delay. I just see them this next time when we go to improv. We'll go there, then we'll go to my place, and that's it. So the thing here is, one is you see other activities you could do, and obviously I think that the important thing is, don't try to fish for what she likes, and don't try doing things she likes, but look at what common interests you have, what things you both like, or what are some things that you really like and she would want to try. Like maybe see some park, try longboarding, or try, I don't know, like chill in the park with the wine, whatever it is. Find things like that, and when you see the girl, this is really important.
Pause. They're saving someone's life right now.
They're saving someone's life. They're coming to pick us up from all the stupid things, because of all the stupid things we've been doing here. This is really, really important. Don't invite the girl straight to your place after you've slept with her only once. Very often they will not agree to that. But it's much better to go do something with her outside. Maybe even as simple as go for one drink outside. Go for that activity that you see. Whatever it is, don't invite her straight over to your place. She might feel slutty. She might not be open to that. Whereas if you go out, do something with her outside, then pull her to your place, it's all good. She's very likely to come out. And after you've slept with her twice, congratulations, you have a regular. That's how I view it. If I've slept with her twice, I can talk about anything. We've done this twice. We've shared these experiences. We've spent quite a few hours together. I think after the second lie, I have a regular. That's it.
Yeah, assuming you actually did properly share those experiences.
Of course, of
If you
course.
didn't, it doesn't magically happen just because of the numbers. It's like first lay, second lay, all of a sudden regular. No,
Yeah.
it's assuming a lot of other connection has been done during that time.
Yeah. After you've slept with the girl twice, when you are about to see her for the third time, there's nothing wrong with inviting her straight over to your place. That is 100% fine. That's what I do. I'll invite the girl out the second time I see her somewhere outside, and for the third time she's coming over straight to mine. But again, I personally like to connect with the girls that I'm seeing. I like them as people. I wanna kind of explore each other more than just sexually. To me, that's weird just sleeping with the girl. So when she's coming over to my place, I don't wanna just she walks in and we start fucking. I don't really do that. How do you use this?
I can't do that because unless I literally did all the foreplay for that over text, I can't just go from hey, open the door to sex. No, there's no way that for me that could happen because I'm just not yet there. So usually I'll just leave, make drinks or make tea or something, and then leave a little bit of time to rework the escalation. And build that tension and then kind of work it from there, but never
Yeah.
from opening the door.
It's the same with me. I'll start with like wine. I'll have a bottle. We'll have a bottle of wine usually, and chill with that, and just enjoy each other's time, and talk about stuff, and again escalate, and just at one point, just I don't know, it just
Go for
happens. There are exceptions. There are girls that come over to fuck. I used to see this when I was in Latvia. I used to see this married girl who would come over middle of the day, and she would come in, we would chat for 5 minutes and fuck for like, I don't know, 40 minutes, and she would go back to work as it was her lunch break. But that's an exception, I think. What else? Yes, don't do late night booty calls. Even if you have a regular, as I said before, Friday 9 p.m. is not the time to text your girl unless you have the dynamic going. I've had girls with whom I have this dynamic that they might text me like 10 p.m. some days, like, hey, what are you up to? And like, I might respond, I might not, and she might just say, hey, can I come over? Can we have some fun? And I could do the same. But we've been seeing with that girl each other for a year or even more when we started doing this, and we had a very deep respect for each other's no. We've spoken about this, that if I ever invite you over and you know you are not in a perfect mood for me, maybe you want something else, then like let's not do this. And it was the same if she asked to come over, but I wasn't in the right mood, then I would just say no, and we respected each other's no. It wasn't personal. It was never personal. We know that we both had to be in the perfect mood to enjoy each other's company to the fullest, and then that's what made it beautiful. But in general, don't do that. Don't text girls late in the evening by just saying, "Hey, come over and let's fuck" or whatever. What do you do with girls staying over at your place? What's your take on that?
I think we talked about this ages ago. I will almost always let girls stay over unless I think back in the time when I used to wake up really early. If it's not a gym night, like if I don't have to go to the gym the next day, or need to be up early the next day, it's cool. But most of the time, if I do need to get nice good sleep, what I'll do is set up the meeting to be much earlier in the evening so that we just have more time together. But then they would have to go home so that I can actually be productive the next day.
Yeah, it really depends on the girl and what I have the next day. There are girls with whom we had a connection where they would stay over, and that was the standard since the first time we slept, and that was fine with me. Whereas with others, we always had the dynamic of not staying over. Maybe there would be like an exception here or an exception there, but it really depended on the girl. And if I didn't want her to stay over, I just I would just say like, listen, sorry, like I love hanging out with you, but I have to work out. I have to work tomorrow early, and I would just really prefer if you didn't stay over. And they would, if you understand that it's because you have to work tomorrow, and it's honest, it's not because I don't like her. It's just I have to work tomorrow. I have to wake up early. I sleep much better when I'm alone, and they would be very okay with that. So yeah, it really depends on a girl with me. And before we get to the questions asked in the group chat, I want to talk about the responsibility of having regulars, because just as in the group chat we have deacons and we have baby Casanovas, and every baby Casanova has a tiny bit of an admin privilege, and deacons have way more admin privileges. With great power comes great responsibility, and just as in a group chat, I expect the deacons and baby Casanovas, like if someone is spamming or doing something stupid, to just, baby Casanovas can delete any post, or
Links.
Deacons can ban anyone. So when I expect those guys to do that, and that's like, if someone, for example, is a great daygamer but isn't contributing to the group or isn't nice in a group, they would never get they would never get the status there, because they're just not part of the group, they're not part of the community. So with great power comes great responsibility, and with great power of game and getting regulars comes, you should take some responsibility of the girls you're seeing. If you've read The Little Prince by Antoine de Exupéry, then you remember the story about the fox, how I think it was the Little Prince was seeing this fox every day or something like that, and then I think one day he didn't show up, or I don't really remember what was the story there, but the story is that if you see a girl regularly, then it's kind of your responsibility to make sure she understands what's going on. She understands you're not going to be in a monogamous, lovely relationship, and it's not going to be all rosy, and it's all casual. So you have to have the talk to the girl, and even if you did the talk, you have to understand that sometimes women, especially when it comes to their relationships with men, they sometimes are more emotional than logical. So even if you gave her the talk, you might see that she's getting a little bit clingy. She has those like pink glasses, as they say, and she just doesn't see clearly what's happening. So I will even go as far as sometimes I will post Instagram stories while I'm on a date with another chick, and maybe it's me with another chick, maybe it's clear that I'm on a date because there are two glasses of wine on the table. I'll post stuff like that just to make sure the girl that's getting clingy sees the picture, and it's a little reminder for her about what's going on, what we're doing, and don't fall in love with me. I've even said it to girls, like, listen, like, this is all great, but don't fall in love with me. Like, it's dangerous. Be careful. Is there anything you do about all of this stuff with your girls?
No.
No?
We'll just go by yours.
Okay, sure.
I have nothing to add to that.
Okay, so what I do, I have the talk. After I've slept with the girl twice, well, now it's different from what it was when I started daygaming, because now I just honestly tell girls what I do for a living. I slept with them twice. I say, listen, you have to know what I do for a living. Like, I'm a dating coach. I teach guys how to meet women, how to be more interesting when they are communicating with women, how to increase their sexual market value. You have to learn to talk to girls, and girls usually like it a lot when I tell them what I do for a living after the first date. They usually feel used, because, oh, he knows what to say, he knows what to do, oh my god, like, I just got used. When I tell the girls what I do for a living after we've slept twice, they are usually, oh my god, that's so amazing, like, I wish more guys knew what you do, because a lot of girls enjoy a guy having good game. I've literally had several girls say after delay, they just said, dude, you have really good game. That's why I came with you. That's why I came home with you. I know you've done this before. I know you can behave. I know you can handle yourself, and I feel safe with you because you'll be able to take my no seriously. And they feel safe with me just because they see I know what I'm doing. And girls appreciate guys having good game. So whenever I tell girls what I do for a living, most of the time they take it very, very positively, and they say, I wish more guys knew about you. I wish more guys would learn from you. So what I would do after, now I would just tell them what I do, but before I started coaching day game, I would just, after I've slept with them twice, I would just have I would just have what in the PUA community is called the talk. You can Google PUA relationship talk, but I would just say, listen, I just have to tell you, it's really important for me that you understand that I really like you. I like spending time with you, but it's important for me that you understand I'm not currently looking for a monogamous relationship. If I was looking for a relationship, you would be exactly the type of girl I would be hanging out with because you're amazing. I would really love to keep seeing you, but it's just important for me that you understand that I'm not really looking for anything serious right now. And most of the times, girls will take this very, very positively, very, very well, and they will be very respectful about. They'll be very respectful about this, and most of the time react very positively. Hey, David, did we just run out of battery on the thing because the red light went off?
It actually closed itself. Maybe went to sleep or
Yeah, that's what that means.
Battery?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep doing the audio version. Whatever, the end of it will be just audio, that's fine. So what time is this? 56 minutes. I will cut this blah 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 thing out. Okay. What else? So we give the talk, we spoke about that. Be aware of her age. Don't, if you know she's only seeing you, then be aware if she's 22 and she's seeing you for ages, for like 3 years, 2 years. Understand that she is the hottest she'll be in that age. Like physically, she'll most likely be the best looking, like up until maybe 24-ish. So take into consideration that. Don't steal her best years. Make sure she understands what's going on. Anything to add on the talk, or let's go to the questions?
no, let's go to the questions.
Okay. So one question that will have a really short answer, in my opinion, is how to keep being interesting for a longer time. I feel like I'm very interested from set to first date, but but interest fades after that. Maybe that's interest from the girl. So let's take this question as how to keep being interested in the girl. And then let's
How to keep the girl interested in you?
Yeah, let's. So first of all, I think if you're not interested in the girl, then don't see her again. That's it. I mean, that's my answer. How to keep being interesting for the girl for a longer time? What do you think about that? How to be interesting so that she wants to see you again?
Haha. For how long? I don't know. The reason I say for how long is because I have to be honest here, but I don't know. I think the longest, the longest I've seen a girl casually was 1 year, but it varies from anywhere between 3 months to a year.
Well, let's say more than once.
More than once over a 1 year period?
More than fucking her more than one time. Like seeing her
Oh,
a week
that's
afterwards.
easy.
Seeing
That's
her
easy.
after,
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
seeing her
That's
like after a
doable.
week, and then like let's say seeing her 3 times.
Okay.
Just one
Okay.
time.
Wow. I don't know. I just imagine that every time I meet them, I pretty much doing my dates right. Like
Yeah, I think maybe this question is about girls not coming out after the first play, which might be because you are breaking some of the rules we spoke about before. You are inviting her straight over to your place.
possibly.
Maybe it's about the question we have next about really fast escalation and how that influences the chances of seeing the girl again.
Possibly too. Also, sometimes the girl may have just wanted to
Get a quick fuck.
and she wasn't interested in
Yes,
you. She only was
I
interested for the moment.
think if this was a problem, someone with 20, maybe like 10 plus daygame lays, if I got a question like this from a guy with 10 plus daygame lays, then this would be a legit question. And then but I think if you are following the rules we're talking about here, if you're not coming in 30 seconds after sticking it in,
No bad sex.
yeah, I mean, if you aren't a really, really shitty lay, and if you are, then you just, sorry, I mean, you have to work on that. And I think some girls, if you are cool on the dates, will actually be cool, but still will stick around even if you are a shitty lay, and still will help you work on your sexual stuff. So I think just don't break the rules. Don't tell her about game. Don't talk about game, because if you view game as a lot of people do, as a way to manipulate women and sleeping with you, then I don't like that attitude. I view game as learning to be more interesting with girls and learning to kind of be someone, learning to change, growing to change yourself and behave in a way with girls that just makes them want to fuck you and fuck you more than once. That's how I view game. Well, of course, in the beginning you are using like stories that maybe aren't true, like are fake stories, or like that you're just using as training wheels, and you have to drop that after a while. But as long as you're not telling all the shit you use to get her to lay, and don't explain all the game techniques, which is I think a big mistake and shouldn't be done. And as I said, they should be dropped after maybe like 20 lays. You should learn to get rid of them. And just become more of a natural, but in the beginning it's very structured. So yeah, don't break the rules. See them outside, not just at your apartment. And if that doesn't help and you have less than 10 day game lays, then keep getting day game lays. And if that persists, then I don't think there is any universal answer. Just get a coaching call and talk to that with me. And now the last question. A very interesting question. What's your experience on retaining girls after same-day lays and fast escalation first-date lays? I have concluded that if I want to see the girl again, I have to deliberately take it slower than I would like to. What's your take on this, dude?
How slow do you mean?
Well, I mean, if you fuck a girl in 1 hour on date one, does she become your...
1 hour would be too short. So we spoke about this. I looked at my history, and it turns out that of all the girls that I saw regularly, I did sleep with all of them on the first date. It wasn't within an hour. It was probably over 3 to 5 hours. And that's just been my thing. Like, maybe the ones that wanted a second date could have probably done it, but I'm just, the way that I ended up coming to dating, it just so happens that if a girl had gone to a second date, I lost interest really quickly, because I like to have some level of sexual tension that at least has to be reciprocated, and either I freak them out and they don't want to come out again, or we match and just works out. So
Yeah.
that's for me, just me.
Well, I actually, this question was very interesting for me. So what I did was I went over my black book and I wrote down all the girls that were that became regulars,
Mm-hmm.
and I wrote down which was the date I slept on with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote out 18 girls that I consider were my regulars from Daygame.
Yeah.
I slept with 10 of them on the first date. So out of 18, 10 were on first date, 4 were on the second date, 3 were on the third date, and 1 was on the fourth date. So
Wow.
still, most of the regulars were from the first date.
Right.
None of them, I would say, were particularly fast or crazy lays, but what's important, none of them were same-day lays. So I looked at my experience, and none of the girls that I had as regular, none of the same-day lays that I had turned into regulars. Maybe I slept with them more than once in some occasions, but they didn't become real regulars. So maybe there is something to it. Maybe that's just my experience. I don't know.
The same day late thing.
Yeah, them not becoming
I've always
regulars.
found that if it's way too fast, there's not enough time to, like, other than the sexual energy between the both of you, there's not enough to like keep it glued together. Because it's just the lay you get from meeting to lay, and then like if they do leave and you don't spend any extra time together, then it's very hard to text them to meet for a date. Or that's what I've realized in the past.
Yeah. So, and we have 2 more questions now. Just appeared now in the chat 10 minutes ago. Any telltale signs that she's about to leave? I think it's a very. I wanted to go into the question.
I think there's clear sign she's about to leave if she leaves. I don't know.
I think it's not an important question. I think they're about to leave, and you shouldn't worry about that. You should go out more. And
Yeah,
take
that
it
means
more,
you're
and
trying to cling on. You
you're
can see
trying
things
to,
are dying.
Yes, you're trying to cling on a thing that is dying. So don't do that. Just focus on getting new regulars. If she doesn't wanna stay around, then don't worry about it. Get the next one.
And
So I
usually,
would not pay attention to that. I never do. I never care about it.
well, I guess I'll just answer this anyway. One sign is if they are not responding. You know, the things of like when you're trying to get someone out on a date, how we follow, like if they say they're busy but they don't offer something else,
Yeah.
or if I think if you see the same signs that you'd see for a girl who's being very flaky when you're trying to get them out on a very first date, assume that the girl is being. That's the same psychology, I imagine.
Yeah.
That they just don't want to see you, and they don't have to tell you.
with the regulars, it's the same. I will maybe ask them to come out twice, and if they don't come out, the next time I will ask. I will wait for them to ask to
Right.
meet. I will not see them again until they text first, and twice is yeah. And the last question: can you convert any girl to a regular, or does it require particular personality mindset? What's your experience with this?
Can you convert any girl?
So it's like, does
you-
it have to be one type of a girl, or can it be any type of girl?
Can you convert any girl into a regular? Yes.
Any type of girl. Obviously
Yes.
not any girl, because some will not like you. And
No, of course, that's what's gonna be like you. It's the same thing like with approaches. Can you get every girl to sleep with you? No.
no, it's
But can you approach a different kind of girl and take her out on a date? Yes, same thing. Same thing. Like there will be a girl out there who has a certain personality that will still somehow want to hang out with you.
yeah. I've had regulars from 18 years old to my age, around 30, professional or doing very professional jobs, or doing very, let's call them, feminine jobs. Very, very, very different girls. Girls who have had many sexual partners. Girls who had very few sexual partners.
Girls who had no sexual partners
Girls who
before
had
you.
no sexual partners before me. Actually, when I look at the names, I think none of my regulars have been particularly slutty in the past and have had like crazy number of partners before me. But maybe that's my preference in women, and the girls that I prefer to see. I prefer to have a regular that
And
has
the
a
girls you
lower
click
leg
with.
count than mine. Like honestly, I've met girls with leg counts higher than mine, and I just don't want to have her as a regular. That's it. I would prefer to have a virgin over a girl with 100 legs, even if it means.
What about the experience?
No, I will teach her what she needs to know, and yeah. Well, anything else you want to add before we wrap this podcast episode up?
No, I think we have covered quite a bit and enough for people to digest.
Yes. So this should answer all of your questions about how to convert a girl from the first lay to having her as a regular. If you have any other questions, ask them in our Daygame Church Telegram group chat. Maybe someone there will answer them. And if you want your questions answered on the future podcasts like this one, then make sure you are in the group chat, because that's where I ask, hey, what do you want me to talk about when it comes to this subject? What questions do you want me to answer? And if you want to join the group chat, just go to my website, strobert.blog, strobert.blog, and join the mailing list. And in the welcome email, you'll have an invite link to sign up for the mailing list and for the group chat. And if you want to come to Mexico for some day game coaching, shoot me an email. And if you want to do some day game coaching in the United States of America, then shoot me an email too, and I'll send you more information. That's it for today. If you watch this video on YouTube, give this video a thumbs up, motherfucker. Or if you watch this if you listen to this on Spotify or iTunes, then please give this podcast a 5-star review. It simply helps me reach more guys and help more guys to start seeing and dating girls they really, really like. Thank you for listening, and goodbye, guys.
Hasta luego.